In the previous whiteboard lecture, I have explained you about array. Let us have the demonstration of arrays in this video. See, the IDE I am using here is Xcode on MacBook, that is Mac OS. If you want to practice these demonstrations on your machine, then you have to install C or C++ compiler on your machine. So how to set up C++ compiler and how to install an IDE is explained in the next section. I assume that you already have C or C++ installed on your machine and you are learning this course. And if you have not done it, so you can go to the next section and install the IDEs. And one more thing, even you can practice online on an online compiler. I will show you where to practice. Open any browser, Chrome or Safari or Mozilla Firefox, any browser. Inside the browser, just search for online GDB. Yeah, this is online GDB, and you can select the compiler, either C compiler or C++ compiler, Java, whichever compiler you want, you can select here. So you can practice for almost all the languages. So here I will select C++ compiler because our course is in C and C++. So you can see that ready-made function is given here, right? Main function is given with IOStream, and using namespace is also included here, already written, pre-written. So you can select C++ and you can write on C as well as C++ programs. Both the programs you can write. So I suggest you can practice here online. You can start practicing here, right? In the next section, I am showing how to install IDEs. And if you like any IDE, you can start working there, or even you can practice here. So let us go back to the IDE. Now the next very important thing I should tell you. See, some student knows C++, they don't know C language. See, I should tell you that if you know C++, you already know C language. See, I have adopted both C and C++ style of programming in my course. So the C style program you can write on in C++. It's a C++ program also. Don't worry about it. You can easily write it, and I am also explaining the basic syntax that are required for practicing in this course. So let us start and see the demonstration for array and structure. See, I have already taken a C++ project in my Xcode IDE. I have taken C++ project. You can see that hash include IOStream using namespace std, main method is there. Now, same thing, if you have a C language project also, you can do the same thing what all I am going to show you now. So let us create an array. See this array A of size 5. This is the array declaration. It will create an array of size 5 with 5 integers, and each integer can be accessed using its index. Like A of 0, I can store some value, that is 12, and A of 1, I can store the value, let us say 15, and A of 2, I can store some value, let us take it as 25. So this is how we can store the elements at each index in an array. So total indices that I will be getting are 0 to 4. See, these are 5 integers. So how much memory this array will take? It depends on the size of integer. See, latest compilers take 4 bytes for integer. See, in my whiteboard sessions, I am assuming integer is taking 2 bytes, right? For making my explanation easy. But in real, integer takes 4 bytes. So let us see the size of this one. So I can say cout size of A. Let us run the program. I should get the size as 4 into 5, 20. Yes, size is 20. Size of array is 20. Yes, it is printing 20. Now let us print some element. Cout A of 1. So what is the value? A of 1 is 15. Let us run it. Yes, I got the value 15. But there should be some space between them. So let us use endl here, that is for new line. So after printing 20, cursor will move to the next line and 15 will be printed in the next line. Yes, 20 and then 15, right? And I will give endl here also, so that this last message, this is coming from Xcode IDE, will appear in the next line. Yes, 20 and 15, and then program ended with exit code 0. That's it. Now, can I use printf here? I want to print A of 2. Yes, I can use printf also. Printf %d and also /n, right? A of 2. Run the program. Yes, it is working. It is printing 25. It may not work in your ID. In my ID, it's not giving any error. If it is giving any error, then you can include stdio.h. See, inside a C++ program, I am writing C language code, right? So cout is for C++ and printf is for C language, right? So you can include stdio.h and write C++, mix the code also, right? See, all these things are same in C and C++. Only the difference is coming in cout and printf, right? So it's not a big difference. So far. Now let us learn next thing. Can I initialize an array? Yes, you can initialize an array by giving some elements directly. Like I will give the values like 2, 4, 6, 8 and 10. These are the values. If I run, here I should get 4 and here I should get 6. Let us see. Yeah, size is 20, this is 4 and this is 6. Then one more thing. When I am initializing an array, I can skip the size. So what will be the size of this array? As many elements you are mentioning here, that will be the size of an array. So the size of an array will be still 5. Yes, 5 4 is 20. I will include few more elements here, 12 and 14. So now the size of the array is 7. So the size should be 7 4 is 28. Yes, size is 7 4 is 28. So I am getting the size as 28. So it means the array size is 7 because I have initialized with 7 elements. Now let us look at next thing. I will give the size. I'll give the size as 10. But there are only 7 elements. 0 to 6 I have the elements. At the 7th index and 8th index there is no element. What will be present there? So I will try to print the element from index 8 and at index 9. Let us see what it will print. See, the size is 10, so the indices will be 0 to 9, right? So I am taking last 2 indices. Let us see what is there at that location. The values are zeros. So it means if you have initialized a few values from an array, then the rest of the locations will be having values zeros. So I will try to remove this. So I have only 2 elements, right? I will try to print the next element, that is at index 2, right? And at index 3. So I have the elements at index 0 and 1. So what is there at 2 and 3? Let us check. It is 0. So it means if you have an array of some size and initialize few elements, then rest of the elements will by default become 0. So can I write just 0 here? What will happen if I write just 0? So the only one element is initialized, that is 0, and the rest of all the elements will be 0. So the entire array of size 10 will be initialized with 0. So this is how you can initialize the entire array with 0 if you want all the elements to be 0. Now the next thing, I have shown you how we can display an array. For displaying an array, we can use a for loop. For integer I assign 0, I is less than, we know the size is 10, I plus plus, right? So we can print all the elements, that is a of I, and also I will give endl. So I will remove this rest of the printing. So for loop is used for accessing all the elements in an array. So here I am just printing all the elements. So all the elements are zeros. Yes, 10 elements are zeros. I will try to initialize the elements with some values 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 and 12, and the rest of the elements will be definitely zeros. So you can see all the elements 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 and rest of the elements are zeros. See, I have mentioned the size as 10, so inside the for loop I can directly use 10, right? So we have to give some constant value. It's a better idea to give a constant value as the size of an array. Now next, is there any other method for accessing all these elements in an array? Yes, in C++ there is a for each loop. So let us use that. How to write it? I can take some element x from A. So I am assuming that you already know C and C++. I am just revising. Don't ask questions on this one. See what is for each loop and all. So I am assuming you should know about it, right? So if you are new to it, I suggest you to study about it. I'm just using a for each loop here. Int x. So what will happen to x? X will take the value 2, then 4, then 6, then 8 and all. So it will be taking all the elements from an array one by one. All the elements. So how many elements are there? 10 elements. So it will take all 10 elements, right? So it will take the number of elements depending on the size of an array. Let us run it. Yes. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 and the rest of the elements are zeros. So yes, you can also use the for each loop. Now more on arrays. Let us take the size of an array as input. Is it possible? Can I create an array of our desired size? Let us check. I want to take input from the user. I will write C++ syntax here. Enter size, right? So how much size of an array you want? C in n. Then is it possible to mention n here? See, what I want is I will take the input from the user, that is size of an array. Then I am reading the size. Then I am creating an array of size n. Is it allowed? See, I am getting an error here. Actually, this a of n is allowed and it is called as variable sized array. This variable size array is allowed in C language also, latest compiler of that is C language. In old compilers it was not available. Then in C++ also it is available, right? It is used at very rare places in my course. All right. Now what is the error I am getting? It is saying that you cannot initialize this variable size array like this. So you cannot initialize. This is the drawback of this one. You can create it, but you cannot initialize it. Then what will be the values in this one? It will have all garbage values. We cannot initialize it. Then how I can assign the values? You can take them from keyboard, or you have to use the indices and write on the values like this, or write them or fill them using loop by taking input from the keyboard. So let us run and see. Enter the size. Array size is 7. I'll give the size as 7. So let us see. First element is 2 that I have initialized it. Rest of the elements are garbage. So total how many elements are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right? So total 7 elements. I have given the size as 7. So the size of an array is 7. Right? And here for each loop is working on this variable size array. In some compilers it may not work, right? So just make sure your compiler is supporting or not. And in some compiler, if you try to initialize, it will not give you error, but it will not work properly. Here in my compiler, it is giving an error. It is saying that you cannot initialize it. But some compilers don't give any error, but they don't work properly. They will not initialize it. All right. So remember that variable size arrays cannot be initialized. All right. So at most of the places in my course, I need initialized arrays. So that is the reason I have not preferred using variable size arrays. Now one more thing, some students may get confused here that one of the values initialized with 0. I am saying that all are garbage, then one of the values is 0. How it is possible? See, 0 is also garbage. We did not keep this value. I have kept only one value, 2. So all other values, whatever it may be, it is garbage. Garbage means it doesn't belong to you. You have not assigned it, right? So all these values are garbage. These are values. Garbage are also values, but that is not your value. That's it. All right. So that's it. This is the demonstration of an array. So I suggest you just practice this and try out all these things on your machine once so that it becomes a revision and it will be helpful in further topics.